Now let's add the bony sail to the back of our dinosaur. So if we take a look at this, we want to now add this large piece coming off the back and even a little bit of detail up here coming up onto the head. And to do this, it's going to be right along the center. We want to actually have the entire model. So I'm going to take this symmetry and I'm going to right click, current state to object. That'll create a null with the symmetry. If I pull the cube out, you can see that this cube, if I go ahead and turn this whole hierarchy off, you can see this cube is now actually one whole object. Okay, so we don't have the symmetry on it any longer. Okay, so now what I want to do is select polygons in the center, and I want to start kind of right around, let's say right around here. So I'm going to go ahead and start and just move up, selecting one on each side. And I want to actually go continuously all the way up to the top of the head. Okay, kind of right up and up in here. All right, so once we've got those, I want to do an extrude inner to give us kind of a little bit more of a base to work with. Okay, and let me go ahead and clean up some of these points, because not all the points are the same distance apart. So I'm going to select both of these points, and let's go ahead and scale those. And these points as well. The effect of moving them apart equally. All right, go ahead and just kind of clean this up a little bit. All right, and so now what we want to do is to go ahead and select those faces that we just extruded, and now let's extrude those up. So I'm going to go ahead and hit extrude just a little bit, and then just pull those straight up. Okay. Now we need to do a little bit of manual modeling here. So I'm going to come in from the side view, and we just need to go from front to back and just take these down to the level we need them. So this, you can see we can bring down here. We have this sort of bump on the top of the head, so we can kind of roughly make that shape. So you can see the geometry up here is going to be very close to the head. So we can bring this down. Now the sail itself is going to be much higher. So once we transition to that, we'll start to leave those up. And we want to pay attention now to how, where the points are. So not just up and down, but actually where they correspond. And so I'm going to go ahead and try to kind of dial these in so that they're in a sort of a fan shape. Now they don't have to match up exactly with the points on our fan. If you just want to kind of get them close. All right, kind of put that in there. Let's drag this one up here. And if you have more than you need, then you can go ahead and create that many. The number of spines isn't really that important. You just want them kind of evenly spaced and evenly sort of fanned out, and you want to create this overall curved shape coming down in here. Okay, and then also coming in on the back where that's going to come down a little bit closer. And kind of take this and kind of blend it in a little bit more. Select those and pull them over a little bit. Okay, now you can see how thick that is. So once we have this extruded, I now think that I want to go back to the working with one side. And so I'm going to go ahead and select with the polygon selection, loop selection. I can go ahead and select that. Let's go ahead and delete that to get rid of that middle part, that part on the side. Okay, and then we can go in and now delete again everything on that side to get back to our symmetrical mode here. So let me go ahead and delete all of these polygons going up into a little stray right there. Okay. Now with the points, I also want to get rid of those points. So I'm going to go into Commands, Optimize to get rid of those points. And now I want to make the fan thinner up at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and select those points. Select all of these points up here. And I just want to thin those out. So I don't want to move the center. I just want to move these a bit closer. Now some of these are already a bit closer, so we're going to run into areas where they maybe cross over or get too close, so we can spread those back out a little bit. We just want it to get a bit thinner as it comes up towards the top. Okay, so just kind of pull these in. Again, we're working with something organic, so it doesn't have to be exact. If there's a little bit of variation, then that'll just help make it look a little bit more realistic. As long as you have your basic shapes in there. Okay, and we can come in here and do the same thing. We want that to kind of be thinned out and rounded off for these shapes along the head. We want those to be sort of rounded off a little bit more. Okay, same thing up here. Kind of clean this up a little bit. Let's go ahead and pull this forward a bit, pull this back and over, and then pull this back a little bit, and just again kind of round it off, taper it down into the rest of the head. Okay, so once we have kind of the basic structure built there for the center, we need to build the sort of spikes. And so to do that, I'm just going to go in every other of these, and I'm going to extrude those in. So we'll go ahead and do an extrude inner on that. And let me just repeat the process on the next one. And here, oops, let me undo that. And just go along. Let me pause as I finish these. All right, so now I want to get rid of that extra face right on the top here. Go ahead and eliminate that going down the line. There we go. And you can see some of these points are a little bit crossed over, so you can go in and just clean that up a little. Take this one and pull it down a little bit so it's off of the other one. Same thing here. We need to kind of clean that up and get rid of this polygon here. Okay, now we want to snap all of those points from those polygons that we just deleted. We want to go ahead and snap those points to the center, because again, we want to be able to mirror this over. So I'll select those, and let's go ahead and right click, set point value 0 in the X. All right. And now we can select these points, kind of move these up a little bit. And now it's just a matter of sort of shaping this. So if you want to go ahead and drop it back in a symmetry, you can see that that's what we get with just the default, which is pretty close to what we want already. I've gone ahead and dropped the old cube outside. So now we're working with symmetry and our smoothing as well. So now you can come in here and tweak this. So pulling these points up a little bit more for this sort of sail shape. You could also, if you wanted to make this more extreme, take these points on the interior and push them in a little bit. And that'll serve to emphasize the sort of sail shape. You can kind of see it here as these are a little bit more prominent. Okay? And there's also points in there that you can take down if you wanted to kind of space this out a little bit. So you could kind of take these 2 points here, scale them in, and then pull them down a little bit if you wanted to make more of a curve in between these spikes. Okay? So just follow that process through with these and kind of smooth it out a little bit. But you can see you get the spikes in there with the little material between, and then you've got the bony structure up here on top of the head. Okay? Again, don't worry about matching up maybe the number. You can use just the number that you have on your body there as far as you're extruding up and then extruding in. The number of those aren't really important. Just want you to know how you can kind of extrude those up and make those new shapes and blend them together. And then you can pop them back into your symmetry once you've done that, cleaned it up a little bit, and you're back where you've started, except now you've got your sail geometry. All right, so once you've got that done, the next thing we want to do is start to add some spikes along the head and on the tail, some smaller little spikes, little details. So we'll go ahead and do that in the next lesson.